afternoon, we're speaking with Sandra Sandifer. Sandra, congratulations on receiving the Trailblazer Award.
Thank you.
And how are you this afternoon?
I'm great. How are you, Janice?
I am doing great because I'm speaking with a great
And
friend
it's
of mine.
good to see you.
Sandra, I read over your bio, and it sounds like one of your favorite quotes. I want to make sure I get this right. One of your favorite quotes is if opportunity doesn't knock,
hmm
build a door.
hmm
So what we're going to do from here, I'm going to ask you to take us back for when you started building doors and opening doors in your journey.
I think my journey began probably in the 80s. My husband and I wanted to buy a house, and we didn't have a clue about buying a house. We
Okay.
had moved to Indianapolis, had been here for several years, and thought it was time. So we took a class on how to buy a house. We left the class feeling pretty equipped to go out and purchase a home, but in the meantime, we I am a social worker by trade, so my job is always helping people. And after we completed the class, I decided to become a realtor. My son at the time was going to elementary school
Okay.
and wanting to be there for him when he left home and when he came back home. I needed to have a job where I can be pretty flexible. I liked working with first seller.
Mm-hmm.
I liked working with first-time home buyers because um, it just gave me a good feeling to put a first-time home buyer in a home because I know how I felt when I got my home.
All right.
So, helping them to navigate through those credit issues and things like that. And I used to get in trouble all the time with my broker because he would tell me I spend too much time working with buyers, and I
Mm-hmm.
needed to, focus on getting listings
Mm-hmm.
because the listings,
Grocery on the shelf.
right. And at one point, I was looking through the paper. I think it was on a recommendation from my brother about a job as a housing counselor. And it was through INHP, which was a newly formed organization. And my brother told me, this is a perfect job for you. It would tie your real estate experience and your counseling experience together. And I said, well, okay, I'll try it. So I walked into the office then, because then you did that. You
Yes.
walked into the office with your resume, asked
Right.
to speak to somebody, and I spoke with the manager of the Human Services Department at that time. Had a mini interview right there, and a few days later got called and ended up being hired as a housing counselor. So I was one of two housing counselors that was hired in the beginning at INHP under the direction of Tom Creaser. And we were in there trying to put our program together. This is what we're going to talk to potential homeowners about. And Tom was like, just get out there and start counseling. Over a course of time, the program evolved. We had to make some adjustments to the program, bring in other housing counselors, and the program just grew. Just really grew. So that's how I got started in this whole housing and community development area. And I started another program called the Housing Continuum Program that really tried to connect with other housing agencies from homelessness to home ownership.
I see.
So, over the course of the next probably 10 years, I worked the whole gamut of housing from homelessness to home ownership. At INHP is where I got a lot of my ground experience. I mean, we worked not only with the counseling and home buyer education program, we had a mortgage program where we referred our counseling clients to home buyer education, got involved with the CDCs
Mm-hmm.
in helping to work with the manager at that time, Beverly Mukes Gaither, in developing really standards for how CDCs were supposed to function. So it was just an awesome experience, one I'll never forget. just really, kind of helped that program evolve.
Well, I understand now about building the door and opening the doors.
Yes.
You well said, and well deserved. Share with us the most rewarding experience in your career.
I think when I was at INHP, I was given a lot of opportunity to develop and grow. John Edmonds was the head of the organization, and he just really pushed me. He pushed me to the limit sometimes, but he gave me a lot of opportunities. I served on the national board at the time. It was called the National Association of Housing Counselors and Agencies. And as a board member, I was placed on the committee to help write a manual, a housing counseling manual,
Wow.
and spent a lot of time with the board. It was a working board.
Mm-hmm.
We wrote that manual and was able to present it at one of our counseling conferences, housing counseling conferences. And it was really a big success. And from that, the manual was published, and it was used for years in the housing counseling.
And this was nationally.
It was a national program. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So my name is on that manual somewhere.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank
I was
you.
sharing with the interview that we had with Beverly, the trailblazers, the number of trailblazers that came from INHP.
Yes.
You know, John, he was our trailblazers last year,
Yes.
Diana Rice Wilkerson, Beverly, of course, you, of course.
Yes.
You know, just shows you what kind of experience and the passion as far as home ownership.
Yes.
Okay, Sandra, you have shared with us your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So presently, what do you do on your current job?
I'm currently working for Old National Bank as a community development officer, where I am the CRA officer and I do community outreach. And part of that is compliance for the bank, making sure the bank is doing what they're supposed to do with regard to low to moderate income
Okay.
individuals and in low to moderate income census tracts. And also, developing and forging those relationships with organizations that we can partner with and make sure that those community development activities happen.
Such
as serving on boards. I serve on the Near East
Mhm.
Side Area Revitalization Board,
okay.
and also work just recently on a board where there's a free clinic being organized on the west side of town in Pike Township,
hmm
and have also worked with organizations such as the National Fair Housing Alliance, the National Association of Housing Counselors and Agencies, have been on the Unique Economic Development Board, and just several nonprofit organizations.
So not only have you been building doors, opening up doors, sounds like you're knocking down the doors also.
Knocking down doors and building new ones.
That sounds good to me. So, Sandra, so share with us some parting words that you would have for us.
I think we are not only building communities through home ownership, but really developing whole communities.
Thank you for this interview and congratulations again.
Thank you, and thanks, CIRA, so much for remembering.
All right.
Great.